In the 19th century, the coastal areas of East Africa were home to a Muslim Swahili. In the 19th century, the coastal areas of East Africa were home to a Muslim Swahili civilization. The principal center of this Muslim culture was Zanzibar. Zanzibar was conquered by Sayyid Sa'id ibn Sultan, ruler of Oman, 1804-1856, and was the capital of the only Muslim state in the region. Zanzibar had the best system of Muslim administrative organization and teaching. Zanzibar had a number of qadis and muftis, most of whom were of South Arabian descent. European protectorates were established in the late 19th century in Zanzibar, Tanganyika, Kenya, Uganda, and several other areas. However, European rule actually accelerated the spread of the Muslim population. After World War I, the Muslim population in Tanganyika rose to 25% of the total population. This seems to indicate that the spread of Islam is supported by unstable political conditions, the need for a common identity for a heterogeneous population, and they choose Islam as a common identity. Other East. The spread of adherents to Islam was accompanied by the spread of Sufi tariqat. Among them are Tariqat Sadziliya and Tariqat Qadiriya, represented by the Uwaisiyya branch. Uwaisiyya is the most active of the Swahili and Bantu-speaking communities, luring Muslims into the tariqat and converting pagans to Islam. They also led the anti-German Muslim resistance in southern Tanganyika. The situation of the Muslim population varied between the colonial territories. Zanzibar was dominated by Arabs, who controlled most of the fertile land, carried out community service, and controlled the government and police services. An Indo-Pakistani community dominated trade and commerce. The majority of the indigenous Africans were mostly artisans, fishermen and laborers, and called themselves Shirazis, but they were divided into a number of tribes. Migrants from the east, African mainland gathered in Zanzibar city and developed a sense of political unity. World War II gave birth to a movement for independence and sparked political unrest between several segments of Zanzibari society. In 1964, Zanzibar and Tanganyika finally merged into the larger country of Tanzania. Zanzibar, as a province of Tanzania, still maintains its Islamic identity. Under the leadership of Julius Nyerere, Tanzania is one of the African countries that has most successfully created the concept of a national society that focuses on achieving the welfare of its citizens. Tanzania adopted modern values such as equality, democracy, decentralized government, socialism, and full communal participation in political society. These doctrinal concepts were summarized in the term ujamaa, or community. In stark contrast to the situation in Zanzibar, the Muslims of Tanganyika were not organized under state support but survived as a diverse, religious minority within the framework of a non-Muslim regime. While Tanganyika developed into an African society, Kenya became a white settler society. Kenya was taken over by the British East Africa Company in 1888, became a separate protectorate in 1904, and asserted itself as a crown colony in 1918. Between 1900 and 1919, the country was conquered by armed force and organized for the purposes of European settlement. Whites from South Africa, Britain, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada settled in the highlands, while Africans were pushed into the indigenous villages. From 1923 to 1952, Britain pursued a policy of segregation and development, favoring whites by manipulating the unoccupied areas of Africa to secure fertile land and mineral resources. Kenya's Muslim population is relatively small compared to Tanzania. The coastal Muslims are closely related to the Muslims of Zanzibar. The central region converted to Islam after World War I as a result of trade contacts with coastal communities. There are a number of Muslim associations, such as the Kenya Muslim Welfare Society, which has initiated educational schools and clinics. But Kenyan Muslims do not participate in national politics as an organized group. Uganda was made a British protectorate in 1893, and the Uganda Agreement of 1900 brought the entire country under British control. In 1914, the British brought the tribal chiefs under their control. In their attempt to subdue Uganda, the British allied themselves with the Protestants and supported the spread of Christianity as a rival to Islam. During British rule, Uganda's education system was divided along religious lines. Catholics and Protestants were given special privileges in government land grants, while Muslims were treated unequally in civil service, appointments, and in government, support for mosques and schools. In January 1971, A military coup d'état brought General Idi Amin to power. Idi Amin was supported by the Nubian faction, which was part of the armed forces of Uganda, which were descendants of immigrants from Sudan in the 1880s. The history of Islam in East Africa also includes important events such as the arrival of scholars, the building of mosques, and resistance to European colonialism. Spread by trade. The spread of Islam in East Africa was driven by trade, with Arab and Persian traders spreading Islam and their culture along trade routes. Influence of Arabic culture, Swahili. The language spoken in East Africa was influenced by Arabic, indicating cultural interaction between Arab traders and the local population. Establishment of sultanates. Islamic sultanates such as the Mamluk, Sultanate of Zanzibar and the Kilwa. Sultanate were established in East Africa, indicating the influence of Islam in politics and government. Role of ulama, Islamic scholars, played an important role in the spread and development of Islam in East Africa, including the building of mosques and educational institutions. Resistance to colonialism. The history of Islam in East Africa also includes resistance to European colonialism, where Muslims fought to maintain their sovereignty and freedom.